As in every pose, take a moment to feel what touches the earth. Your hands, your fingertips, some part of your knees, some part of your shins. If you have your toes tucked under, the undersides of your toes, if the tops of the feet are flat, there's no right or wrong way, by the way. Then you feel that part of the top of your foot onto the floor. Now that you're grounded and steady here, let's start to wake up the spine. Don't go back to sleep. Take a breath in, exhale, cat pose. Lift the belly, lift the spine towards the sky, open between the shoulder blades and into the low back. Inhale, cow pose. Draw your gaze forward, draw your inner thighs back and feel a stretch across the front of the body. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Keep going. So what we're doing here is we're waking the spine up, but we're also waking up the breath, and we are getting the body to move in conjunction with the breath. In this way, we're connecting mind and body because you're making your breath or your body move with the rhythm of your breath. After your next cow pose, come into neutral spine, and then we'll take a more free form version of cat and cow that helps us open into the side bodies. So maybe you roll the spine around in one direction a few times, and then in the other direction a few times. Or maybe you make more of a figure 8 shape with your torso. Hips are the bottom of the 8, shoulders are the top. Just getting into the side bodies, but also the back and the front as we were doing in the regular cow. Again, no right or wrong way here. It's just what feels good for you. And then come back into a neutral spine. Let your head hang down. So keep the arms straight, but you're trying to reach the crown of your head towards the floor. Glide the shoulder blades back and down. And then get the chin pretty close to the chest, and then move your chin from side to side. And then bring your head back to neutral. From here, bring your right fingertips behind your right ear and point your right elbow out to the side. So you're going to try to keep that junction of the right arm, upper arm, pointing straight out to the side. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, twist down. So you're going to try to tap that elbow towards your left inner wrist. You may not quite get there, but you're twisting down. And then inhale, lift up, point your elbow towards the ceiling. We're waking up the upper back. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. We're going to lower down one more time on this side. And then inhale, when you lift up, take that right arm straight up into the air. So we're going to go straight from where we are into a gate pose just by sliding the right leg back straight and then lowering the right heel to the ground. So the right toes point towards the right long side of your mat. And we're in gate pose now. Bring your top arm over your ear. Really push back and down through the right foot. Curve those right fingers down towards the floor, lengthen out through the right side. And then lower your right hand down to the mat. Slide your right knee back into place under your right hip. Take your left fingers behind your left ear. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, twist down, elbow coming towards that right inner wrist. Inhale, twist up, elbow pointing up towards the ceiling. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. One more time, twist down. And then as you inhale, twist up. Take your arms straight up overhead, twisting open. And now to get to gate pose, just slide that left leg straight back behind you and then lower the whole foot to the ground, toes pointing out to the left. Bring your top arm over your ear. Push back and down through the left foot. Really try to get a big curve, a lifting up of your top side body as those left fingers reach down towards the floor. And then lower the left hand to the mat. Slide the left knee back into place. Walk your hands back. We'll come to camel pose here, standing on the knees. So we're going to bring the fingertips behind the ears again, elbows pointing out to the sides. Make sure your foundation is strong, toes tucked under or tops of the feet on the floor, strong belly, a little squeeze into the glutes, not a lot, just a little. Inhale, lift up through the chest. So it's a lot of lifting here. And then as you exhale, press your head back gently, press those elbows back. Get the whole upper back to fire up here. And then inhale, lift back up. Bring your hands around in front, interlace your fingers. And then here, we're just gonna open up the wrists by making figure eights. So if that feels complicated, just roll those wrists around, however, and then trace the 8 in the other direction a few times. And then unlace, shake the hands out. Okay, back to hands and knees. And then from there, downward facing dog. In your downward dog, big inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And then to really get mind, body, and heart together, being present together, let's focus on Ujjayi breath, toning in the throat. So you hear your inhale and hear your exhale. On your next Ujjayi inhale, take your right leg straight back and up behind you. As you exhale, you're going to come into plank and bring your right knee to your right armpit. Slide the knee down to the right wrist. Lift it back up to the armpit, back to one leg dog. Okay, I'm awake now. We're going to do that 2 more times on this side. Come forward into plank, knee to armpit, wrist, armpit, back to one leg dog. One more time, plank, armpit, knee, armpit, one leg dog. This time, bend your knee and twist open. And once you've twisted open there, roll that right ankle around a few times, one direction. And then a few times in the other direction. Stretch your leg back behind you and then lower the right foot to the ground. Second side right here. Inhale, left leg back and up. On your exhale, come into plank. Knee to left armpit, down to the wrist. Lift it back up and then press it back behind you. 2 more. Come forward, lower the knee, lift it. One leg dog. One more. Lift the knee to your armpit, lower to your wrist, back to the armpit. One leg dog. Bend your knee, twist open. Roll your ankle around, left ankle around a few times. One direction and then the other. And then stretch your leg back behind you. Lower your foot down to the mat. And then walk your feet up to the top of your mat. Stand in forward bend. Hold on to your elbows with opposite palms. Let your head hang down here. Keep as much of a bend into your knees as you need to so that it feels good in your back. So you're not just feeling the backs of the legs lengthen, but you're also feeling the spine lengthen here. Hands to your hips. Inhale, rise up to stand, and then bring your hands to your heart. Don't go back to sleep. Stay with me here. Inhale, lift up overhead. Exhale, forward bend. Work that Ujjayi breath. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And then back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. Exhale, lunge it to the top of your mat. Lift up to warrior 1. So root into the back foot. Take a moment, build the pose from the bottom up. Feet rooting, Legs strong and scissoring into the middle, belly pulling in and up, tailbone reaching down. Bring your fingertips behind your ears, elbows point out to the sides. As you inhale, try to lengthen through the sides. So think about rib cage lifting up, and then you can lift your heart up to the sky, take more of a back bend here, and then stretch your arms straight back or up overhead, biceps near the ears. Inhale, come back up, circle your arms back behind you, and then just bring your hands around to your low back, straighten your front leg. So we're gonna seesaw back and forward 3 times in Parsvottanasana. Front leg is straight here. So again, inhale, lengthen up, bottom ribs lifting away from the rib cage. Take a back bend here, just a little one, and then exhale, take a forward bend, just a little one. We're gonna do 2 more so you can get deeper each time. Take your back bend, gaze up, take your forward bend, maybe a little bit deeper. One more time, back bend. This will be your deepest one here. And then exhale, forward bend. And then lower your hands to the mat. Bend that front knee if you need to get the hands down to the floor. And then we'll come out to a grounded warrior 3. So that right foot stays where it is. Walk your hands forward until fingertips are underneath your shoulders. Straighten the right leg, left leg straight back behind you. Put a lot of energy into that left leg. Then we're gonna roll open to half moon pose. So your base now will be your right foot and your right fingertips as you lift up through the left side. Nice and strong here. Maybe even you take your gaze up past your top hand. And then very slowly, we're going to step back to warrior 2. So maybe challenge yourself to see how slowly you can step back into your warrior 2. And then a reverse warrior. Windmill your hands down to the ground. One leg dog, right leg lifts. It's time to flow here with a one leg dog or with both feet on the ground. Your choice, always. Flow or not flow. Flow in the way that feels right to you. I love seeing all the variations that you have in your vinyasa. It's your time to really find that connection, waking up. From downward facing dog, inhale left leg back and up behind you. On your exhale, lunge your foot up to the top of your mat. Warrior 1, root into the feet and then rise up from there. So for this warrior 1, bend your elbows out to the sides, hands behind the ears, strong belly, little squeeze into the glutes. Inhale to lift the rib cage up and then exhale to back bend. Even press those elbows back here. And now straighten your arms, biceps near the ears. You're reaching the arms up and back. And then circle those arms around and back behind you. Bring your hands onto your low back, straighten your front leg. So 3 times we'll seesaw, getting deeper each time. We'll back bend first. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale up, exhale, little forward bend. Inhale up, exhale, back bend, a little deeper now. Inhale up, exhale, forward bend. Inhale up, exhale, last back bend. It'll be your deepest one. Inhale up, exhale, forward bend. Your deepest one yet, not your deepest one in the practice. And then hands down to the ground. Bend that front knee if you need to get the fingertips to the ground. And then we'll come to grounded warrior 3. Walking the hands forward, balancing on fingertips and the left foot. Left leg straightens as you lift the right leg behind you. Find your steadiness here. In these balance poses, we have to bring everything online, get everything present, open up to half moon pose. So lift up through the right side, lift the right hip up towards the ceiling, pull the right shoulder up, and then right arm to the sky. Turn the right toes out to point towards the right. long side of your mat. Maybe turn your gaze up. And then slowly, slowly step back to warrior two, reaching back with the right foot, reaching forward with the left hand, warrior two, and then reverse warrior. Open up that side body. And then exhale, windmill your hands down, one leg dog, left leg lifts up high and flow through here. There you go. From downward dog, look up at the front of your mat and then take a couple of big steps, or maybe a bunch of little steps, or maybe one hop to get your feet up to the top of your mat. Fold into your legs and then inhale, lift up. Arms high, exhale, hands to your heart. So I want you to know, we're not going to have a single chair pose in this practice because we finally got snow and we're going to get more snow. So I'm going to save your quads for skiing. We are going to do a standing pigeon later, but it's not chair. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen out. Okay, now's the time to wake everything up with your vinyasa. Flow through, breath guiding you from pose to pose. Find that fine line between being gentle with yourself and pushing just a little bit. From downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. On your exhale, lunge your right foot up to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior two now. Back heel down onto the ground. Open up into your warrior two. Straighten the front leg, bring your hands behind your back, turn your toes to point towards the left long side of your mat, interlace your hands behind, draw the shoulders back. We're gonna take a wide leg standing forward fold. Exhale, bow forward. Crown of your head reaching towards the floor. Once you're there, lift the tops of your shoulders away from the floor and then start to bring your hands away from your back. So again, be gentle with yourself while pushing just a little bit, especially with your shoulders. It's easy to injure them because they have a big range of motion. So you really have to listen, be present as you're stretching them, as you're moving into the far end of your range of motion here. Release your hands down to the ground. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. We'll take 10 side lunges here. Let's start with the right knee. So you can really get low and stay low and lift your hands up, or keep your hands on the ground, keep those hips a little higher. This is part of being present, really understanding what is the right thing for me in the moment. When you're done with those 10, straight legs, fold in one more time here. And then hands to your hips. Inhale, rise up to stand. Triangle pose, turn your front toes forward, open your arms out front and back. And then lean forward and down. Find your triangle pose. Strong into that right leg, really pulling the whole left side body back. On an exhale, circle your top arm forward and down to the ground, bending into your right knee. We're going to lower the left knee down to the ground. Pat it if you like. We're going for half splits here. Straighten your front leg. So just so you know where we're going, we are going to come back to half splits again later. If you feel like you need to get into the full splits right now, you're of course welcome to do that. Keep a little bend into that right knee and really try to push the right heel into the ground. If you have the room for it, fold over your leg. Again, that waking up, being present, mind, body, and heart, is about really listening in the moment and balancing the desires of mind, body, and heart here. All right, plant back into your right foot. Bend the right knee so that your knee stacks right over your ankle. Plant your left hand a little bit in front of your left shoulder. Twist around to the right, lift your back knee up, and now twist around to the right. Lift your right shoulder up, lift your right arm up. So we're gonna come into some variation of side plank pose, Bashistasan, from here. One option is to turn all your toes to face the right long side of your mat. Second option is to stack your right foot on top of your left. If you've got the foot stacked, see if you can lift that right leg up so you're in more of a star shape, and then lunge the right foot back up to the top of your mat, right hand down to the ground, high crescent pose, lift up, find your deepest back bend in high crescent right here, and then exhale, hands down to the floor, one leg dog, right leg lifts. It's a flow time. Yeah, you're looking great this morning. From your downward dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. On your exhale, lunge it up to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior two. And then from warrior two, straighten your front leg, turn your toes to point towards the right long side of your mat. Bring your hands behind your back again. When you interlace, put the thumb on top you don't normally have on top. Draw the shoulders back and then forward bend. Keep the tiniest bend into those knees. And then with the tops of the shoulders lifting away from the floor, start to bring your hands away from your back. Hands to your hips, and as you inhale, rise back up to stand. I'm gonna turn around so I can face you. You're gonna come into a goddess stance. Toes point out, bend your knees, bring your hands above your knees. So here, I want us to really, we're gonna twist, but really think about those inner thighs opening up. If you need to put your hands on the insides and push back a little bit, you can. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, twist right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. As you get into the twist, feel those inner thighs opening. Inhale, center. One more time. To the right, center, and one more time to the left, and center, and then straighten your legs. And now we're ready for triangle. Turn your front toes forward, open your arms out front and back. Big breath in, lifting those ribs up, and then stretch forward. Fingertips touch down on something. Top fingers reach up for the sky. One more breath in here, and then as you exhale, circle your top arm forward and down to the mat as you bend into your front knee, and then lower the back knee to the floor. Start to work the front leg straight for half splits. So you've got the back of your left heel onto the floor, and you're pressing the ball of your foot forward, but pulling the toes back. Tiny bend into the knee. It may be, if you really get your alignment set up here, you might not even need to bend the elbows and fold in at all. So a couple of things can help you do that. One is to think about taking more of a cow spine. So inner thighs move back, chest moves forward. Oh, that's a lot right there. Another thing that can help you do that is think about, instead of folding down into your leg, reaching out past your leg, nose past the toes. That's probably not going to happen unless your nose is really long and your leg is really short, but it's that action of reaching forward. And then if you still need more, you can bend those elbows, or I know at least one of you is in the full split. And then inhale, plant your front foot, stack your knee over your ankle. Plant your right hand about an inch in front of your right shoulder. Tuck your toes under on the back foot and lift that back knee off the ground. Now we're going to twist around to the left. Pull the left side body up, left arm up. From here, we're going to go into side plank pose. There are different variations. Maybe you turn your toes to point towards the left long side of your mat. You'll be on the outer edge of your back foot. This is side plank pose. Or maybe you wiggle that top foot back until it steps on top of the bottom foot, side plank pose. Maybe if you're in that second version, you lift the bottom leg up into a star shape and then plant it at the front of your mat, hands down. And then from here, back to one leg dog, left leg lifting up, one leg vinyasa. So when you finish this vinyasa, you're going to end up in a child's pose. If you're not taking the vinyasa, you go straight to child's pose. In these 1 hour classes, I don't often put child's pose in unless we really need a break. But today I put the child's pose in to let us take a moment of stillness from all of the movement, from all of the flowing, to see if we are being present. Mind, body, heart, all connecting together here. If you don't feel that you're really connecting, or just like your body and your mind are sometimes connecting, focus on your breath. Keep that toning in the throat. And now we're ready to go again. Lift back up to downward facing dog. And then bring your feet to the top of your mat. A lot of steps, 2 steps, maybe a hop. Fold in, and then inhale, rise up. Arms reach to the sky. Exhale, hands settle onto the heart. All right, walk your feet a little farther apart. Mine are as wide as my mat. I'm going to turn my toes out. We're going to come into Malasana, which is the squat. So for me to come into the squat and have good knee health, I need to turn my toes out a little bit, and then I can come down. This is not going to work for everybody. Sometimes ankles or knees, hips, low back prevent you from going there. Then you're going to stay a little bit higher, maybe turn the toes out a little bit and bring the arms on the insides of the legs. Again, we're trying to get those inner thighs to open up. If you're down lower, then you're getting inner thighs and outer hips to open. See if you can sit tall. There's a real tendency, especially if you're tight in the hips, to really want to hunch forward here. See if you can lift up. Again, trying to lift that rib cage up off of the top rim of the pelvis. One more inhale here, and then as you exhale, hands to the floor, straighten your legs, and then scoot your feet back in about hip width distance apart. Fold in to open up the backs of the legs. And then bring your hands underneath the soles of your feet. So bend your knees so that you can get the hands all the way under there. And then maybe start working the legs a little bit straighter. We're trying to open up the front of the wrist. So you might already feel the front of the wrist lengthening here. If you don't, I've got two options for you. One is to pull your upper arm back into the shoulder socket, as if you're trying to shorten your arms. So pull the upper arm towards the back plane of your body. If that's not working for you, bend your elbows, point the elbows back towards the shins, maybe elbows tap the shins there. And then release. Walk the hands out from underneath the feet. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, take your vinyasa. Jump back to chaturanga maybe, or step back to downward dog. It's your flow, your time. These are movements that you know. It's easy to go back to sleep when you're doing those movements because you know what's happening next. Your challenge is to stay awake, stay present. All right, lunge that right foot forward and lower your left knee to the ground. We're going back to the half splits here. So again, in the half splits, there are a couple of things you can do besides just folding forward and rounding your back like a turtle shell. One is to take the hint of a cow spine. It's really hard to get into cow spine here, but think about inner thighs moving back, chest reaching forward. And then the next thing is to try to reach your nose out past your toes. But if you want to go into the full splits, here's how you do it. You start inching that front foot forward with the toes tucked under on the back foot, lift the back knee up, walk that leg back a little bit. So it's going to be that seesaw, forward, back, forward, back. You have to really be present here. You might get to a place where your body and mind and heart say, okay, this is it for us. And then you honor that. You want to keep a lot of scissor action, pulling those legs in towards one another so you don't get too far into the end range of motion for you here. All right, start to lift back up. Plan into the front foot, front knee stacked over the ankle, low crescent pose. Sweep the arms forward and up. So lift that rib cage up and reach back. Inhale, lift back up right. If the toes on your back foot aren't tucked under, tuck them and then lift your back knee up. Now we're in high crescent pose. Once again, we'll go for the back bend here. Inhale to lengthen up and then exhale to back bend. Inhale, lift back up, bring your hands to your heart. Standing figure four or standing pigeon pose. We'll stand on the right leg, cross the left ankle over, hips back and down, chest forward and lifting. And then inhale, stand up and lower your left foot to the ground. So in standing, we're going to practice the full expression of side plank, but we're going to be standing on our right foot. So yeah, we'll stand on the right foot. So lift that left leg up, reach down. First option is to grab around the outside of your leg here. And then you'll take your leg out to the side. Second option, reach down with your hand or a strap, grab the outer edge of your foot. You can grab the big toe too. For me, I get a better grip on the outer edge of the foot. Take your right arm out to the side and up just a little bit, up about an inch. Maybe this is where you stay, or maybe you straighten your left leg out to the side. So this is side plank, only we're balancing on a foot instead of foot and hand. And then bend back into your knee, lower your foot down, hands to your heart. Second side, inhale, lift up, exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen forward. This is your last vinyasa opportunity. Take it here or skip it. We'll meet in downward facing dog. And then from downward dog, lunge your left foot to the top of your mat. Lower your back knee to the ground. So half splits again. Maybe find that little bit of a cow pose in your spine, hips back, chest forward, and then reach your nose out past your toes, pull your toes back. Or you can go to the full splits if you like. Again, this is about, as Rumi says, don't go back to sleep, especially here. You want to be fully awake as you come into this pose so you know where your end range of motion is or getting close to it. So start to work the front foot forward, back knee back, forward, back, forward, back. Maybe you land into your splits here, some version of the splits for you. Again, pulling those legs in towards one another. A lot of muscle energy drawing in. And then on top of that, you can layer just a little bit of softness, a little bit of letting go. And then start to lift back up if you're in the full splits. Plant into the front foot. Low crescent pose. Sweep the arms forward and up. Rib cage lifts, and then you find your back bend. This is going to keep, you're still going to be bending in your low back, but that rib cage lifting is going to help you curl more in your upper back and take some of the compression out of your low back. Inhale, lift straight up, tuck the toes under on the back foot, lift the back knee off the mat. So we're in high crescent pose now. Inhale, ribs lift, exhale, back bend. This will be your biggest back bend here in high crescent. And then lift up, hands to your heart, standing pigeon pose, standing on your left leg. Bring that right leg forward, cross the right ankle over, send your hips back and down. And then inhale, rise up, lower your right foot to the ground. All right, so we'll do that hand to big toe version here. This time we'll stand on the left foot. So one option is to lift that right leg up and hold on and bring it out to the side a little bit, holding on to it right above the knee, coming to the outer thigh. Second option is to reach down with your strap or your right hand, grab the outer edge of your foot. I like for my knee to go out to the side. It sort of points my leg in the direction I'm going, and then press the heel out to the side. Take your left arm out to the left and lift it up about an inch. So this is side plank pose right here, but we're standing. And then lower back down. Okay, so now we're going to go to side plank pose. Let's start in a lunge with the right foot in front. Move your left fingers or left hand about an inch forward and lower the palm to the ground. Come onto the outer edge of your back foot. Either with your strap or your right hand, grab your right foot. Put a little bit of a bend into that left knee instead of having it perfectly straight. A little bend will help you out here so that you can anchor your toes to the ground and then start to pull that right knee up to the sky. This may be where you stay, Or maybe you press your foot up into the air, straightening the leg, and then you can straighten that bottom leg more, really trying to get the whole sole of your foot to the ground. Yes, I see you in that Bashistasan. Good job. Come on out whenever you're ready, lower down however you want, and shake your wrists out or shake your hands out to open up the wrists, make fists, roll around a little bit here. All right, you ready to try the second side? Okay, we're gonna come into a lunge with the left foot forward. Bring the right hand about an inch forward so it's not right underneath your shoulder. Turn your back toes to point to the left long side of your mat. And then if you can, I know it's awkward, bend into that right knee a little bit with the left hand or your strap. Grab the outer edge of your left foot and then pull that left knee back and up towards the ceiling. Try to get the whole right foot onto the ground. And then maybe you straighten that left leg up and then straighten out the bottom leg. Side plank pose. Yes. I see star shapes. Yeah, these look fantastic. I see the bottom knee on the ground. This looks really good. Lower down however you can. And we're going back to child's pose. Just for a moment. Settle in here, but don't go back to sleep. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. If you're asleep, you can't hear them. So we're listening to what our body is saying, what our mind is saying, what our heart is saying. All right, from your child's pose, start to walk or come up to all fours. And then walk your hands back. We're gonna stand on the knees for camel pose. We did a camel pose early in the practice. If you want padding under your knees, we've been on the knees a lot in our practice today. You can double, triple, quadruple that mat up to give you a little cushion there, or put a cushion you might have underneath your knees. Let's do child's pose with the toes tucked under. So again, building the pose from the bottom, rooting the lower legs and feet into the earth. Bring your hands to your hips. You're even rooting the pelvis down. As the pelvis roots down, inhale, lengthen up through your spine. As you inhale, see if you can feel the ribs and the chest lift up. And then bring your fingertips behind your ear, strong belly. Exhale, back bend here, pushing your head back gently into your fingers, and then pulling those elbows back behind you. Inhale, lead with your chest and then your face to come up. We're going to do 2 more versions of camel. You can go back to that one, or bring your hands to your low back so that your hands are, fingertips are pointing down here. So the hands here on your low back are going to help keep that compression out of the low back as you move into camel. Point the elbows back behind. Base of the pose is set. Quads are strong. Belly pulls in and up. And you have a little bit of a squeeze into the glutes. The hands are also helping keep the tailbone long. Inhale, lift up the ribs. Exhale, back bend. To come up, bring your chest up first, then your throat, then your face. All right, final camel pose. We're gonna reach back with our hands and see if we can find the ankles. If we can't, we have to really be present and listen and not just force ourselves into the pose. So we're gonna start with the hands on the low back again. Toes are still tucked under. If you know this pose, it's, to me, much harder with the tops of the feet on the floor, but if you want to go there, that's up to you. A little easier with the toes tucked under. Strong into the legs, strong into the pelvis, belly and low back. Pull the shoulders back. Inhale, lengthen the ribs up. And then as you exhale, curl in that upper back. Reach one hand down. And if you can feel your leg there, bring your fingers into the inside of your ankle, palm facing out. Slide the other hand down into the inside of the other ankle, palm facing out. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back. Squeeze the inner ankles towards one another. Lift up through the chest. Everything coming online, fully awake. And then inhale, lift up with your chest, and then your neck, and then your head. We'll take another child's pose here. Widen those knees out. Touch the big toes together. Shift the hips back. Stretch the arms out in front. Let your forehead rest on the mat. If it feels good, roll back and forth across your forehead. That camel pose requires a lot of strength into the upper back and back of the neck as well. So here, just let those muscles relax. So we're going to get onto our backs. Maybe, unless it just feels weird to you and you're going to be disoriented in your room, maybe you just slide onto your belly from here, and then from your belly, roll onto your back. But if that feels weird and your head's facing the wrong direction, you get onto your back however you like. Draw your knees into your chest and then circle those knees around. So the base, at the bottom of the spine, there's this triangular shaped piece of bone called the sacrum, and we're rolling across the sacrum. Roll the knees in the opposite direction. Keep the knees in, take your arms out to a T. And as you exhale, take your both knees over to the right together. Take your gaze out past your left hand. So now is the time to let go of that Ujjayi breath and just let your natural breath take over. The Ujjayi breath does a couple of things. One, it keeps us engaged in the practice. It keeps us present. Another thing that Ujjayi breath does is it helps us direct our energy with a more forceful exhale. Now we're letting our energy go. So return to your natural breath, but try to keep your attention, your mind, gathered with your body. Inhale, bring your knees up. And as you exhale, take the knees to the other side. Take your gaze out past your right hand. And then inhale, bring your knees up. Hug them in and maybe take a happy baby pose. Before you just do what I say, listen to your body and see if happy baby pose is really what your body wants in this moment. And then on an exhale, stretch your legs on out. So at the beginning of our practice, I said that our goal in practice was to wake up, or in the words of Rumi, don't go back to sleep. But Shavasana is corpse pose. So it's not sleeping pose, but it's a pose where you get close to sleeping, where you really begin to relax and let go. And this has great value. If you can let your body settle and let your mind settle, then you can really hear what your heart has to say. You can really hear what the breeze at dawn has to tell you. So find a pose where you can really start to let go. It may not be the traditional corpse pose. You may have bent knees, but a relaxing pose that allows you to settle in. Allow your face to relax, especially the place between your eyebrows. Allow your mouth to soften, including your lips and jaw. Let the back of your head sink into the floor. Shoulders, arms, upper back, low back, legs, all release. And now in this stillness, in this deeper relaxation, can you hear your heart? Can you listen to its desire? Begin to wave your fingers and wave your toes. And then bring both palms over your heart. And feel that mind, body, heart are connected. And when that happens, you are really present within yourself. And when you are in that place and I am in that place, we are connected, we are one. Stretch your arms overhead, reach your legs long, stretch out one more time here. And then on an exhale, roll to your side. Take this moment to honor your ability to be whole, to be complete, to be present, to not sleep through your life. And then bring yourself up to a seat. Close your eyes and bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. I hope that as you go through your day, you're able to come back to this state of being awake, of being present to the whispers around you, of being present to what you really want, and not allowing yourself to go back to sleep. Let's take a moment to send our collective energy out to those who are in need today. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.